Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us once again for a set of six. Tonight, we are visiting our friends in China, and I'm being joined by Jordan Zhu and April Jiang, all the way from China. Let's get them online now. Here we go. Hello, Jordan. Hello, April. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Adam. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, fantastic. Great to catch up again. We've just got April on mute at the moment. April, can you maybe sort out your microphone there?
Oh,
There we go. Oh, no, you've gone again.
hi Adam, hi friends.
That's beautiful. There we go. It's one thing to have a look at your beautiful face, but it's great to hear from you as well. So thanks for joining us tonight. This is our third episode. We've so far been over there in England and also South Africa. So it's great to join our friends in China. And we'll just ask a series of questions here. As it says, it's a set of six. But at the end of those questions, we're going to put it out there to the viewers to also ask some questions as well. So without any further ado, let's get our first question out of the way. How has the country of China been affected by the pandemic restrictions? Tell us about what's been going on over there. Jordan.
Okay. Actually, recently China has in easing condition overall our nations. I mean, the schools are reopening in this month, and actually people can do a social gathering with their friends. And we are happy that we start our first social touch after the Chinese New Year at the end of March. So basically, we are now playing touch like weekly with our friends, and that's the good news for us. So we are happy to see the things are going to the right direction.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. April, anything to add there?
Yeah, actually, outside of China, I'm very sorry that you guys are suffering what we suffered like 2-3 months ago. So by that time, in February, January, we were quite straight. Everything shut down. But in early February, actually, we started back to work again. So now it's quite okay, I would like to say, because last weekend I hang out with friends and everything seems back to normal. A long queue and at the restaurant, everything. So that's good.
Well, here in Australia, we're just starting phase one of some of the easing of restrictions. So schools aren't back full time yet, but we are moving towards a staggered return to school and an easing of restrictions in some of our dining places as well. But you talked about it obviously affected China earlier than other parts of the world. What were some of the restrictions that were placed on you for isolation?
Jordan, you want to go first?
Yeah, basically, we have a very strict lockdown in February and March in different cities. So basically, China divided to the risk level into 3 levels. So it's a high level, medium level, and low risk level now. So for 99% cities in China today, so it is low level. Just in case the case come back again, so we will monitor the situation very strictly. So in China, just a little bit background information. I hope you enjoy it. Is that we use the application called WeChat. It is the application that every Chinese are using in their daily life. So actually, WeChat can record the data of each one's travel history and even where they use their mobile data, so that we can, if we have some suspected infected cases, your code, you will get a code here, is an example. So each Chinese citizen will have this kind of code. Even an expat, they can have the code. So if you are once close to a suspected infected case, the color of the code will change. So, so before you enter a restaurant or before you play a social touch, you have to demonstrate the code, which was generated immediately, so that you can show it to the manager, the admin officer, even the restaurant owner, so to demonstrate that, to indicate that your health condition.
Okay, excellent. So
thank you.
That's good. We've got a similar app over here, which is a a downloadable app that the Australian government has put out as well. Just works on a Bluetooth sort of tracking technology as such. So if you're in an area where other cases, as you said, have been reported, or if a case is reported, they're able to say, well, you were in a location, go and get yourself tested. So it's obviously technology is playing a massive part around the world in coming out or easing these restrictions. April, you talked about returning to work. How was that? Like, everybody was removed from the office, businesses shut down over there for a period?
Yeah, so I remember I started to get back to work on 10th February. By the time, our office building was quite strict, so not everyone in the building is allowed to get back to work in the office. So for example, it's like maybe half people of the company are allowed to go back. So we rotate every day.
Right.
Yeah. And we have to wear a mask in the office, and we need to keep the social distance. It's like no less than 4 meters from each other. So
wow.
Yeah, and we were forced to leave the office building earlier as well. So it's quite straight.
There you go. So I guess, Jordan, you spoke about you're already back returning to touch. What effect did it have on touch while you're in isolation, and how's it been since you've come out of isolation?
I mean, we haven't have any touch activity in January and February, and people are getting a little bit stressed about that because when people need to go out for fitness, they want to see friends, they miss, like, for example, like I haven't seen April for a while because of the COVID-19. Because she's located in Shanghai, like she planned to come back to Guangzhou a little bit, but due to the situation, we cannot see each other. So so when touch is reopened in Guangzhou, because we might be early a little bit, but people are getting excited about that. Like even it is just a social touch. Like we got beginners, we got our elite players playing against each other. It's not really a matchup, but the people are still excited to play.
Yeah, fair enough. And April, what about in your area?
Yeah, so far I'm in Shanghai since late of February. Actually, I plan to go back. At the beginning, I planned to go back for the May 1st holiday, but I failed because some weeks ago the situation in Guangzhou was not very well. So I'm afraid that if I went to Guangzhou and came back to Shanghai, I need to quarantine for 14 days. So that's not very good. Shanghai here is quite similar with Guangzhou, actually. We also started the social touch again in end or mid of March. And we were so excited because the pitch, usually if we go to play touch, we need to hire a turf pitch.
Right.
And then by that time, the government finally allowed the pitch to be rented out. So we were so happy. We just contacted everyone in the touch community and even the rugby community. So every Saturday it was boom.
It was more than
there. It's nearly 30 people. It's just awesome. Very busy on the pitch. Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, so that's the social touch side of thing. What engagement have you had with your elite players through the period, Jordan?
Well, I'm afraid that we have not much we can do about elite touch because different, unlike the situation we have in 5 years ago. Like what we have, that our elite players are located in different cities in China. China is a very, very big nation. I got a map here for a reference. I mean Shanghai is here in middle,
the east,
and Guangzhou is down here. And the Beijing is up in the north, and we still got many potential players in different provinces. So we are trying to run a nationwide selection, but unfortunately we are not have any specific plans. We are pending for the government's approval to come to our plans.
Right, and with the restrictions that April talked about, the travel restrictions and the quarantine restrictions that are then placed on you if you travel between provinces, makes that sort of thing quite difficult, April.
Yeah, yes, that's quite difficult, especially for some special states. And also, half of our elite players, they are the university students. So now they're in different cities, and most of them they are not allowed to go back to the university since next school year. So it's very difficult to meet in person. Or so recently we just mainly talk in WeChat and then share some game links and watch some games together. Sometimes our Jordan and Dragon, they will share some good videos on the in our group and then say, oh, you see what's this, and analyze a little bit. That's quite good. Yeah.
So that feeds on to my next question. Nice lead in there for me, April. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
No, fantastic. That's exactly what we're talking about here. You've done it perfectly. So you talked about their use of videos for analysing, and we've already had Jordan talk to us about WeChat and the technology that's available there in China. How have you harnessed the technology to widen or broaden your communication? What sort of strategies and platforms have you used to maintain contact with your players?
Usually I would like to say just WeChat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fairly widespread technology over in China, isn't it? Like you said, everybody has WeChat.
Yeah. You have to have WeChat actually. It's for everything now. It's not just social media. It's like it's the whole life kind of.
It's a huge platform, whole life.
Yeah,
I like it.
We even can book the train tickets, can buy insurance, you can do a little bit investment, something like that, to buy the movie tickets. It's for everything. It's too convenient. Yeah, too convenient. So everyone is using WeChat.
And have you also used Zoom technology or any of the social media platforms where you can have situations like this where I can see multiple people and communicate with multiple people at any one time?
Yep, we do use sometimes we use Zoom for the meeting, and sometimes we use another platform called Ding. That's also that's mainly for work actually. So for those apps we can use for multiple people. You're right, because usually WeChat can only be used for about 9 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So the restrictions on the number of people, but I guess there are plenty of teams out here that are using Zoom for just that face-to-face catch-up. It's good to see your friends and to be able to talk and share some touch memories that we often like to talk. The longer it goes, or the more time that's passed, the better I was as a touch player, because my memory fades a little bit, but I can just tell better stories.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So technology is certainly playing a part over there, which is great to hear. Let's have a look at the next one. What does China have planned to replace the international fixtures that have been cancelled or postponed? There's been plenty of tournaments postponed. How has it affected you guys with those international postponements or cancellations? Jordan?
Well, basically, we are still waiting for the condition to get better. So until then, we cannot settle any specific plans. So for China Touch Association, we are a very new organization. So we have only our first World Cup experience in 2015. So for us, there's a lot of things to do to build our foundation. So the organizing structures, the plans, and technology supports and coordination between different provinces. So actually, the quiet season really gives us a very valuable time to build up that structure.
Yeah, it's important time, and I guess whilst we're in isolation and we're not actually physically out there having to organise things, it gives you a good opportunity to work behind the scenes, April, to do some recruitment or advertising, and just to regroup and try to build the sport in China.
Yeah, it's also as you know, we are hosting the Asian Cup, supposed to be in this late maybe October this year, but it's also postponed. So we also got more time to to plan a little bit for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, beautiful lead in now with the Asian Cup, as you said, supposed to be at the end of the year. Have you been collaborating with your Asian neighbours in relation to the tournament and future development for touch in China and the greater Asian region?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna show you another picture.
Yeah.
This
Awesome.
is the photo.
How
This
many
is a
pictures
photo
you
with-
prepared?
He's very
There are
prepared.
many.
I like it.
Yeah, whenever the time is good, I should demonstrate my pictures. So China Touch has very close relationships with our neighbors. So we have to mention that we have frequent contact with the Hong Kong Touch Association. They are very supportive. Actually, their developments are earlier than us. So and we also have built a very strong connection with community of Singapore Touch. They are very nice guys. So we have become friends. They usually each year we have a team called Asian Barbarians or Asian Alliance to compete in different tournaments in different nations in Asia. So hopefully we will bring a team on Australia Sunday in the future.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. I know there's plenty of Australian clubs and teams over here that would love to host you. Plenty of tournaments. I know we've had plenty of international visitors at our State Cup here in New South Wales. Also, Queensland have the Senior State Cup back up and running, and some international teams at the National Touch League as well. So there's plenty of support. And one thing about the sport of touch football, it is a great community. It's a family based, and you make some great friendships, and you'll never lose them once you've established them. April, you talked about the Asian Cup there. What can we expect from an Asian Cup to be hosted in China?
Sorry?
What can we expect to have at an Asian Cup in China? What's something to look forward to that our viewers, if they want to come and visit China to watch the Asian Cup or even to play in the Asian Cup, what can we look forward to there?
I think let me think about it. As the official side, I think by that time we can show you the improvement of the Asian Touch, not just only for our teams. Also, I believe that like Japan, the other teams, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Taipei, and Singapore, and the others. And also, we can show you around as a tourist. It would be great. And yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like you've got it all under control. Just to let everybody know out there that's viewing it too, if you've got a comment, if you've got a question for our visitors here in Jordan and April, or even myself, please feel free to ask it there in the chat panel. And what we've got planned tonight, we're going to also have a look at some vision of China in action at last year's World Cup over there in Malaysia. You guys were both there. Tell us about your experience in Malaysia for the 2019 World Cup. Jordan, how was it for you, mate?
Well, for me, honestly, it is a struggling experience for me because I was getting old and my finish was not at the top level. But but actually, I really appreciate the support of our coach and our managers. They continuously support me like physically and mentally, and our teammates. Actually our management team is quite it's an international crew. Actually, we have coach from Hong Kong and New Zealand, and we have managers from Singapore, and we also have a 16 coach from different nations. So in the past year, they have supported us a lot. Yeah,
fantastic. So we're seeing the vision here, April. I believe you may have been participating in these matches. This looks like China and Ireland there, a bit of a breakaway from China. What's going to happen here? Do we get a try? We do.
Yeah.
Who was that there? Just what are your memories from this game here, April?
Oh, I remember that time, that game we did very well. And then actually I would like to say we did better than we expect at the beginning. So we really work as a team because before that game, we were quite stressful, actually, especially for me, because it was my first time to be the captain in the World Cup, and then Ireland. We all knew that it's a very important game. We don't want to lose it, and then also they're quite strong. They're quite good. They're the number 2 or number 3 in the Europe. So, but luckily we all worked together like a team. So it was great. And then we beat them maybe in the end, maybe 11
2,
to, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
But actually they started kind of very frustrated since the middle of the game. So
Right.
we did very well. It was a great game.
There's some nice tries there. Just having a look at the vision on the screen. You talked about the team really putting it together, and you can see some of these tries here. Let's have a look there. Little dump and split, return pass, and just beats the middle player like that, and over he goes. So that was a well-worked move there. Here we go with the sweeper coming around this time, and a dive over. The Irish defenders just didn't really know where the line was on a couple of occasions, and I think that's the pace of your play here. We can see quite speedy play from your Chinese your teammates, and that's a nice long ball out to the wing. Was that you, April?
No, that was Jojo. I was
Jojo.
playing the link. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And now we've got Vision versus one of your Asian neighbours in Japan. What do you remember about this game, Geordie?
Well, this one comes up very 50-50. This is a game we have the chance to win. So I think the final score is 6-4, but the result is still encouraging based on our previous match. Like we play against the Japan mixed team. Like some of the players, like each year, maybe in Shanghai, maybe in Hong Kong, they used to be feeling very much mismatched there. Like they used to beat us very hard, but in the World Cup stage, we see when we can fulfill our advantage, our speed, we play in pace so that we can actually get very close to the,
Yeah, and Japan have been around internationally for quite some time, and they've done a lot of development and had a lot of support to get to where they are. So that's a nice result. And now there's another game that we can see here. Some great footage from the 2019 World Cup. Another pass out to the wing. Is that Jojo again? Nice dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Jojo again. I think she scored most of the tries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So do we see April get across the line here?
That wasn't me. That's Yan, right? Jordan?
Yeah. That's Yan.
I didn't score a try in the whole tournament.
Oh, you just set them up.
Good team spirit.
Good team. That's it. Good support player. Every team needs a support player. Nice pass again. Some fantastic touch there at the World Cup. But one of the real deciders over there was the conditions. You said you played in 2015 in Coffs Harbour. They were so different, weren't they? The two tournaments with the conditions that we were playing in. I can see April throw her head back there. What are some of your memories from the Australian World Cup, April?
That's completely different. So, firstly, of course, from the weather, right? The Coffs Harbour was freezing, and then Malaysia, the heat was also killing us, and also for our team performance and our own experience, we all see there's a huge difference from our team ourselves, because the team we have this year, last year for Malaysia, we still have like maybe 5-6 players from the last World Cup. Everyone can feel the difference, can feel the improvement. Also for myself, I played links for both World Cup, but I can see my mindset is totally changed, and the team's mindset also changed a lot, and also our fitness is better, everything, communication is better, so really happy.
Awesome. And Geordie, mate, you talked about the relationship you're establishing over there in Asia, but the world is a big place, and the touch, the game of touch spreads right around the world. What's some assistance that, if you could reach out to countries, what's some assistance that China Touch could use to grow the sport? If you could ask a country or any of our international touch players out there, what can they do to help touch grow in China?
I mean, China has a very big market for touch development. It's like touch actually perfectly fit the culture of Chinese, because like Chinese are basically, most Chinese are they would like to have friendship first and a competitive result second. There's a Chinese saying like that. So that people are really love to have touch as their hobbies, so that they can build up a social community. So in the past years, I've say we are the growth of China Touch is really relying on the resources from Australia and New Zealand. The coaches, their managers offer us a lot of support. So here's another question. Is another photo. Here's a coach from New Zealand, Wade, for Mixed Open team in 2019. He's from New Zealand.
Yep.
And also Paul as well. He's also from New Zealand.
So
the one in the purple.
The one in the purple. Yeah. Yeah, he's the head coach of the Mixed Open in 2015. In between, we have a photo here, Hamish. Hamish from Australia. He used to coach us in 2017 and 2018. So they are all very nice guys. Like, they are not paid for coaching us, but they are very generous to offer us many suggestions. So China has, what I see is that we have a very rapid development for our elite teams in the recent 5 years, but we cannot have the results without their support.
But plenty of opportunities if there is anybody around the world that might want to come along and give you some assistance or bring a team to China. Are you open to, when we get international travel back up and running, will you be open to some inbound touch teams coming across to have some games and some development?
Yeah, sure. We are always welcome the top players to play in China, so that they can demonstrate to the local fans what high-level touch really is. So, for example, like last year, that we have multiple from Australia. So he comes to China for 6 months, like coaching us, like really show the high standard. And also we invited the best touch player, maybe the Hitch, to play in the Shanghai International Tournaments. So hopefully in the future we can also invite some Australia national team player to play on a local tournament, so that they can offer us more enjoyment about the game.
Yeah, plenty of people will be watching these videos as they go up on YouTube and Facebook. We've had a question come in here from Gary Reynolds. How many teams do you think China could field at the next Youth World Cup and World Cup? So how many teams do you think we might see from China at the Youth World Cup?
Well, I think based on the situation right now, so we have very good developments in the international school, April, right?
Yeah, they have the league. They have competition every year.
Yeah,
and sometimes also, the kids also join our league.
Yeah, so in China, like some local international schools demonstrated their interest to be selected in the national youth teams. And also up in the north, I mean, many local schools in Shandong and Shanxi and Hebei provinces. You might not need the map right now, but it's up in the north. They are very athletic young players. So I think it really depends. I guess maybe 4 or 5 teams. Depends on the structure of the tournaments. Yeah.
Awesome. That'd be great to see. And then over at the World Cup, the Senior World Cup, any chance of seeing some of the senior age groups teams from China?
I think it's highly possible. So for the plan of the Asian Cup, we have organized. We have built up the base for the senior mixed team, and also the men's open, women's open, and mixed open. Of course, that will be our strongest side. Mixed open, and so that we can have at least 14 for the Asian Cup. But for the World Cup, we still have plenty of time to prepare for that, I think senior mix will be one of the teams that we are sending.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic. Another question from one of our viewers. This one's for you, April. From Labib Levy over in South Africa. Have the factories opened up for kit production?
Yes, we're working on it already. What a question. Thank you.
Yes,
actually, the factories are also open in February.
They reopened in February, and that's one of the things internationally. Our touch fraternity, a lot of uniforms from all around the world come from China, and
True.
plenty of people were worried about their uniforms and when their orders would arrive. So it's great to see that those factories are back on board, and hopefully, Labib, that answers your question. That they have reopened already. So fantastic. It's been great to have you on board. It doesn't look like we've got any other comments or questions there, but we might have a look at some more vision. I'm pretty sure we've got some more vision lined up. We'll just have a quick look at that before we say goodbye to our friends. So we can see here some more footage from the World Cup, right? This time versus Wales. Yep. They're on the main field.
Yeah.
You're down 3-0 here, but it looks like you might be launching a challenge. Another long ball, Jojo.
Yeah, you recognize her
in the
now.
Corner. I recognize her now just from the dive. Very athletic young lady, hey?
Yeah. She's a very good athlete.
But a nice long pass. Hit the mark perfectly.
That's good.
Set up in the middle. Where are you, Jordan? Can you or April? Are you either of you out there at the moment?
I think we were in the box. The ball carrier is Dragon, and then that's Steven.
So everything happens while you guys are in the sub box. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fair. Oh my God.
It's not fair. There we go. So 5-1 the score, but we're back on the attack now. 7-2 the score's jumped out to. So in this match,
Adam.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'll be sweeper, I think.
A little dummy out of the acting half. And the referee blows a penalty on that occasion. Don't get across the line there for another try, but as you said, it was an experience that you come up across some very good teams over there. And
it's a good experience.
The mixed division is always a strong division because some of the smaller countries put their best players, their best men's and women's players in there to give them the opportunity for the best possible result for their country. Is that something that you've built for the last couple of years? You see yourself strengthening your mixed team, but hopefully down the track that'll result in strong men's and women's teams as well. Is that the strategy that you've had in mind?
Yes, exactly. Like it's a good way to build on a base when we have a men's team and a women's team, so that they can play together, compete together. So
nice movement here up again. The team that you had over there, were they predominantly from one province, or were they from a mixture of all of your major cities in this particular team?
They are mainly from one province from Guangdong, but Jojo is from Jiangsu, and I think the others are all from Guangdong, right?
Okay,
as I remember.
But that obviously, as you're growing, that obviously helps with the teamwork and the compatibility with each other in the team. But you'd hope in the future that would lead to a mixture of players from different cities that'll be in these elite teams.
Yes, that would be a trend. In the last World Cup, we have players 4 or 5 players from other provinces, maybe from Shanghai. We also have players from Brisbane or Gold Coast. Crispin is from Australia, but his parents was born in China, so he eligible to play for China. We also have players. Brandon Chen is from Australia as well. He also played for China Mixed Open in the last World Cup.
And they bring plenty of experience with them and help. What they can teach you there, you can take back into China and spread that around over there as well.
Yeah, sure. We definitely learned a lot of stuff from them. So they got the experience. They play in a national touch league in Australia, and they also have the very good team spirits. They telling stories, encouraging the teammates. That's something we haven't learned before.
So how many cities in which cities are they run regular touch competitions in China?
Wow, cities. I would like to say 25 now.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
And so
It's growing bigger and bigger and quite quick.
It's how many? It started in one city predominantly, didn't it? It spread from there, or was it sort of 2 or 3 cities that started the game and then it's developed out to that 25?
Yeah, I think Guangzhou, Shanghai, we started first, and then Nanjing, which near Shanghai, also started, and Foshan. And so we started in Guangzhou, and then developed in Foshan, Shenzhen, and also the city later developed in Beijing. So Beijing, that's why some other cities like outside of Beijing, like Hebei, and the other province or cities, they will develop after Beijing. So yes, mainly north and east and south first, and now also in the middle.
So it's really spreading out far and wide. That's excellent. Fantastic to hear. You guys are doing a great job. So I guess there's no more questions from the viewers, but it's been great to have you on board and to get an insight about touch over there. And I would just say to our viewers out there in the wider touch community that China will do whatever it takes to become a stronger touch football nation. And they welcome all visitors and anybody that would like to offer some assistance to touch in China. Reach out and just make some contact with April or Jordan through the Facebook page. And I'm sure that they'd be more than happy to receive whatever assistance that you possibly can in helping touch grow in China. So Jordan and April, it's been great to have you on board tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Anything you'd like to say to your viewers out there?
Nothing much. No. We pretty much mentioned all the things that we want to say.
Fantastic. So great. And thank you very much for joining us. Next week, I'm not sure where we'll pop up. We might even visit the United States. But to Jordan and April, thanks very much for joining me tonight. It's been fantastic bringing you another set of 6. We look forward to our next episode next Thursday night, around about the same time. But thanks for joining us, and bye for now.